What is up, YouTube? That's here, bringing you guys another amazing team building video. Today, we're going to be dialing it back a bit and taking a very different approach to how I do this team building video. I got a lot of comments in the last video saying they really wanted to see the TM aspect, so we're going to be bringing back the TM aspect. I'm so sorry I cut that before. I didn't know there was that many people that wanted to see the TMs. And also, guys, please leave those comments and let me know what you guys think about these team building videos. Remember, these are for your guys' benefit, so I'll be able to add any sort of insight you guys want me to add if it's something that can help you guys win those games. So guys, feel free to leave comments, leave those likes, and more often than not, please subscribe so you guys can be alerted and click that notification bell so you guys can actually see when we're getting these videos. There's a bit of a little hiccup going on YouTube, and it's not showing everyone the required videos, so you got to hit that little notification bell so you guys can actually get these in your inbox. So without further ado, like I said, we're going to be kicking things off, and we're going to be looking at this a little bit differently. We're going to be building a team around a Pokemon from scratch. And I know in the very first team building video, I showed you guys how to add Pokemon like one at a time, say like, well, I want to build around this Pokemon, and then I have to use this Pokemon to like supplement its weaknesses, and then add Pokemon to cover for each Pokemon's weaknesses, and in doing so, you get a very well-balanced team. What if we go a step further in not just every Pokemon covers for each other? What if we make a team where we have one Pokemon, and then the 5 Pokemon cover for that one Pokemon's weakness, because that one Pokemon is so good. If we were to do that, that would create a situation, like a very different situation, a very different way to even look at the game, and like a different win condition altogether. So when we go into the Pokemon box, you can actually see the team. I have it all out right now. Normally I like to add them one at a time, but remember, since we're looking at this, we're looking at the bigger picture here. We're going to look at everything all together. So we're actually going to be building around Chansey today. We're going to be building around Chansey. Now, Chansey has sort of like a negative way. It's seen in a very negative light by a lot of people because it's so gimmicky. People like to see it as like a minimize user, like a toxic staller. People really see, a lot of people that play with Chansey over the course of Pokemon's history see it as like a coward's way to play. Too defensive, like only a coward would use something so underhanded and dastardly. Now, we're not going to be doing that. We're going to be doing something completely different. You're going to see as we actually get into the team. But in doing so, let's talk about what Chansey actually brings to the table, because a lot of you guys probably don't even know how you really play Chansey or what it really does. So Chansey, for those who don't know, has the highest base HP in the game and has a very high base special defense. So in doing that, it makes it so for Pokemon like, Jolteon, Starmie, Mewtwo, Alakazam, Gengar, a bunch of very common Pokemon, mind you, or anything that really relies on special attacks. Blastoise, Vaporeon, most of the water types in the game, anything that relies on special attacks to KO things is not going to be able to do anything at all to a Chansey. Chansey has such high base special defense and HP that more often than not, they're going to be dealing about 15 to 20% with any of these special attacks, and you're just going to be able to set up on them and then effectively use Chansey to win the game with your other Pokemon. So because Chansey's so good on the special defensive side, with great power comes great responsibility. It's very weak to physical attacks, and more often than not, its only big weakness is fighting attacks. So random brick breaks and superpowers, and even stuff like earthquakes or waterfalls from like Gyarados and rock slides from Aerodactyls. Those are going to do a lot. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to surround Chansey with 5 other Pokemon that let Chansey play to its fullest potential, and then we're going to use Chansey as a pivot point to win the game. And also, Chansey's also going to cover for all of these other Pokemon's weaknesses and vice versa. So we're going to talk about a little bit more of the team building aspects, then we're going to look at all the moves, then we're going to look at the TMs, then I'm going to show you guys some games live, well, not really live, but recordings of games where I use these teams live, and you guys can actually see the team in action. So, buckle up your seatbelts, get ready to go. We're going to be in for a pretty good time. So, like I said, Chansey is weak to fighting attacks, and also things like Earthquake, Rock Slides, Waterfalls. Those also do a lot. So we're going to talk about fighting attacks and those 3 things. So the big thing are fighting attacks. Let's talk about Gengar. Gengar is a ghost type. Fighting attacks cannot hit it, and even if they could, it's also a poison type. So again, another not too good for fighting attacks. We got Starmie, psychic type, resist fighting attacks. I think you're starting to see a little bit of a what is the correct word? I can't believe I just brain farted here. A little bit of a pattern here. Zapdos, flying type, walling the fighting attacks. Nidoking, poison type, walling the fighting attacks. Mew, psychic type, walling the fighting attacks. We have Chansey and 5 Pokemon that cover up for its one biggest weakness. Let's talk about earthquakes. Of course, Gengar is a little bit weak to earthquake, but it also outspeeds almost everything that could stab the Earthquake, other than like Aerodactyl, which it can Mega Evolve the Speed Tie, and it gets packed with Will-O-Wisp, but you can burn those Earthquake users, and then not only can they not really KO you with Earthquake, they can't KO your Chansey either, you'll be in it just fine. Starmie gets Scald. Most things that use Earthquake tend to stab the Earthquake, and you can finish them off with a super effective stabbed water attack. So against things like Golems and Groudons and stuff like that, you can just Scald this with Starmie. Both Gengar and Starmie really excel in punishing said physical attackers before they can even do things. Also note that Starmie can pack the Psychics for against things like Machamp, Hitmonchan, Primeape, what have you. So again, we're trying to not look at it defensively. We're not trying to wall those Pokemon. We're trying to deal with them proactively through the use of Will-O-Wisps and Skulls before they even become a problem. It's a very, like I said, proactive play is very, very important in singles, especially in singles of Pokemon. Zapdos, another Pokemon that walls fighting attacks. It is a flying type. This Pokemon also is one of the best walls in the team. Actually, this is a better wall than Chansey when used correctly. It's also the only Toxic Staller in the team. Most people, when they think of Chansey, they think of it as a Toxic Staller. When we start looking at movesets, you're going to see why Zapdos does a much better job. Note that Nidoking is the one Stealth Rocks user I'm choosing to use, and the reason why we're using Nidoking over something like Alolan Dugtrio is because Nidoking has that resistance, again, to fighting. It's Poison type, and it can punish a lot of those Pokemon. Nidoking is a great Stealth Rocks user. It also gets Taunt, so it brings a couple more things to the table that Alolan Dugtrio actively doesn't. It's a little bit different. It's great at walling a lot of the Pokemon that Chansey really ends up struggling with, and vice versa. You know, let's talk about, well, we'll talk about that in a sec. I'll talk about it in a sec. Mew's the last Pokemon on the list. It's our definite setup on. This is a Calm Mind Pokemon, and Chansey and Mew complement each other very well. They both have speed control, and they both have the ability to win games all by themselves. So now that we've talked about how all of these Pokemon cover up for Chansey, let's talk about how Chansey also covers up for all of these Pokemon. So Gengar, like I said, it is a Ghost Poison, so it's weak against other ghost type attacks. Dark, it's weak to Psychic, and it's weak to Ground. So other than Ground, which like I said, we have multiple things to switch to. Starmie can punish those things, Mew can eat some attacks, Zapdos nullifies it. You know, for ghost attacks, all you gotta do is switch to Chansey, nullifies it. Normal and Ghost, like specific Pokemon, have perfect coverage back and forth. Use these to switch between each other. If you ever expect fighting attacks, if you ever expect ghost attacks, just switch back and forth between them. And as for dark attacks, you know, Chansey's gonna eat those. Chansey's going to eat a Dark Pulse. It's only new like 10 or 15% because 90% of the things that use Dark Pulse have like less than 100 base special attacks. So you're completely fine there. And then, you know, as long as you're not eating ground attacks, you're actually relatively safe. As for psychic attacks, it's the same thing. Chansey is such a high special defense-based Pokemon that they're not going to be able to do any damage. You can safely switch between these two Pokemon anytime they're in danger. And remember, if, like, let's say they do have a really big ground attack, like an Earthquake, Gengar just has access to Will-O-Wisp. You're going to be able to Will-O-Wisp them, neuter them, and then you can just switch out a Chansey or literally anything else and be completely fine. So using the correct moveset, using the correct team building process, Mega Gengar, which is our only Mega here, has perfect coverage with Chansey. It's great. Talking about Starmie, let's talk about Starmie's weaknesses, what they actually bring to the table. So Starmie's weak against Electric, Grass, Bug, Ghost, Dark. What's one thing all those have in common for the most part? So Electric. Let's talk about some common electric attacks. Thunderbolt, Thunder. Let's talk about some grass attacks. We got like Mega Drain. Let's talk about Ghost. We got Shadow Ball, Dark Pulse. Bug attacks are notably U-Turn, but we have 4 other Pokemon that resist bug attacks. And so, more often than not, the point I'm trying to make is all of the things that Starmie is weak against are special attacks. If anything's threatening the Starmie with a one-hit KO move like a Thunderbolt or a Mega Drain or a Shadow Ball, just switch to your Chansey. They're going to do 10% and you're going to be able to absolutely destroy them. I'm going to show you guys how when we get into the movesets and why Chansey is the perfect pivot Pokemon for this team. So, we're moving on to Zapdos. Zapdos has a bunch of very common weaknesses, actually. It's weak against rocks. It's weak against ice. And those are actually pretty common. More so the rocks aspect. And Chansey isn't really doing it any favors with the rocks. But Zapdos, the way we're using the moveset after I talk about it, it can actually beat any sort of rock slide user through the use of Toxic installing them. More often than not, if you get your sub up, you're just going to be able to have Toxic sub and just click Roost and sub, and you're going to be able to wait them out every single time. I've done it probably 5 or 6 times with this team since starting it, and I have not lost to a Rhydon or a Dugtrio, or a Golem, or an Aerodactyl. I haven't lost to any of those things yet, and so Zapdos, when played correctly, can actually win the matchup. But more often than not, like for ice attacks, just switch to Chansey. They're going to do 10%, because all the ice attacks in the game, for the most part, other than like Alolan Sand / Ice Punch, are special attacks. You're starting to see a pattern here. My whole team, the biggest weaknesses that they all share are special attacks. If you use Chansey to soak all your damage, you're going to be in an amazing spot. We're going to talk about Nidoking here. Nidoking, note that he gets Taunt. It's my one big Taunt user that I opt to go for. Gengar can get Taunt, Mew can get Taunt. I don't really like it on the specific sets that I have. But yeah, Nidoking can Taunt, so it can Taunt slower Pokemon. It's Stealth Rock's user that's relatively bulky. It's a great check to a bunch of stuff. How does Chansey really cover up for it? Well, Nidoking's main weakness, the main reason why it's not used as often as you would think, is because its biggest weakness is, you know, Water and Psychic. It's weak to, like, Surfs, Scalds, Psychic. Sure, it also has that ground weakness, which we talked about how we deal with, like, Gengar, Starmie, Zapdos, like I said, can totally stall into those ground-type users. Mew also does an amazing job. So, as long as you're not eating huge Earthquakes, which aren't really that big of a problem because we have perfect coverage for them, and the reason why it's perfect coverage is because it's very subtle. It looks like our team is very weak to ground attacks, but upon looking at our movesets and our, you know, natures and stuff like that, you're going to see that we are so safe, we lull them into a false insecurity, and it's the optimal way to punish. So Nidoking covers for Chansey very well. Chansey covers for Nidoking because it walls the psychic attacks. Very good coverage, also soaks up all those juicy water attacks as well. And last but not least, Mew. Mew has a setup set. We're using like Calm Mind and stuff like that, but, you know, Mew, other than the bug problem, we have like, it's very similar to Gengar. It's like Ghost and Dark and stuff like that, and Chansey just soaks all that damage right up. So now that we've familiarized how we're going to play the team, well, we're familiarized with our strengths and our weaknesses and how we optimally cover them. Let's look at our movesets, and we're actually going to see how I can execute those plans. So we're going to go into Chansey's moveset. I probably should have started off with this, but we're going to go into Chansey's moveset and show you what makes it special. So I'm opting to use a careful Chansey, and I think whatever Chansey you're using, you have to have a plus special defense nature in the Let's Go. More often than not, in other formats, Chansey's defense was so low. It only has like a 10 base defense. You'd opt to go for like Bold or Impish or something, but in Let's Go, since there's no Eevee Elite or anything like that, you kind of want to go for the min-max full special D and just only opt to eat special attacks. So Chansey going to be increasing your special defense with whatever nature you choose. Careful, calm, sassy, really whatever you choose. As long as you're increasing your special defense, you're off to a good start. So we're going to look at this moveset, and this is what makes Chansey very, very good. We can also just kind of briefly look at Chansey's stats. Like I said, huge HP, huge special defense, decent speed tiering, not terrible, but abysmal attack and defense. A special attack isn't very great. Also note that we're using a special attack boost or reducing nature. If you really wanted to put like Ice Beam or Flamethrower, you kind of could, but more often than not, you'd be doing more damage with Seismic Toss, which deals exactly the same amount of damage as your current level. So since battles are set to level 50, you're always going to do 50 damage, and that's like a 3-shot on very common glass cannons. So it's a 4-shot on almost any Pokemon in the game. So Seismic Toss is really good, and remember, if you can 4-shot them, you also have a healing move, and like I said, more often than not, most special attackers are doing, you know, 10 to 15% of your health. You're going to be able to outshoot them anytime. But the thing that makes Chansey work is Thunder Wave. Thunder Wave is one of the best moves in the game, especially for crippling any Pokemon, and a lot of people are going to expect Chansey to be a Toxic Staller. So they're going to be like, I don't really care, I'll eat a Toxic, but, you know, I'm really going to mess with this Chansey. Well, you don't really mess me up if I Thunder Wave you, and then I am in charge of messing you up for the remainder of the game. You got an Aerodactyl, I'm going to Thunder Wave you, and I'm going to Seismic Toss you down. I can beat your physical sweeper if I have the speed that I need to succeed, because I can always Thunder Wave, and I can just use Soft Boiled and Fish for you to get parried, and that's exactly a really, really good playstyle. So let's look at this. We got Thunder Wave, Soft Boiled. Remember, Soft Boiled restores 50% of your health. Seismic Toss if we need to deal damage, but the thing that makes this work is Teleport, and you've seen me talk about Teleport teams before. This isn't a full-on Teleport team, but this is what makes this team good, and this is why I call Chansey a pivot Pokemon. So Teleport, the user switches places with a different Pokemon instantly using telekinetic power. You may be thinking, that's a why don't you just switch? And I'm probably going to be trying to leave a link to my Teleport team in the description of this video, because I feel that video did a really good job of explaining it. But more often than not, if we go back to the team, we're going to talk about why you actually use teleport instead of hard switching, because remember guys, teleport is a -6 priority move. More often than not, it's always going to go last. The only thing that goes later than that would be Trick Room, which isn't even in the game. So you're always going to be going last with teleports. And so the reason it's really good is, let's say you got Gengar on the board, and they have a Mega Alakazam. So remember, Mega Alakazam is faster than Mega Gengar. So what they're going to do is they're going to Psychic you. So if you hard switch into Chansey, take 10 to 15%. From that Psychic, because you're such high base specialty, and remember there's no physical Psychic attacks, so you're fine. You're going to be able to take 10 to 15%. What you're going to do is you're going to put a Thunder Wave on that Alakazam. If he decides to stay in for some reason, you're just going to you can Thunder Wave if you want, or you can just teleport. But yeah, if you Thunder Wave him, you switch into Chansey, soak the damage, stop their momentum from sweeping you, Thunder Wave them, you know, bring them down to mortal levels, and then after that, if they're still in, or if they switch, it really doesn't matter, and if they're switching, it'd be really cool if you had Rocks up with your Nidoking so you can punish the switches more often, but let's say they stay in with Alakazam, you've already clicked Teleport for the next turn, so if, let's say they decide to switch to a Pokemon like Machamp to really punish your Chansey, well, you already channeled Teleport on that turn, so they switch, because switches go before moves, they switch to Machamp, you activate Teleport, which is already active, and you can switch into any Pokemon you want. You can go into your Mew, you can go into your Starmie to punish. Let's say they wanted to, let's say you have like a, you switch into Chansey while they're Alakazam, and they're like, man, I don't want to deal with this, and they just switch that first turn that you use Thunder Wave. They switch into like their Gyarados to go for like big waterfalls. Well, the first thing you do is you Thunder Wave them on the switch, which by the way, that is extremely safe, and being able to neuter their Gyarados with the Thunder Wave, you now can completely destroy it with almost any of your Pokemon. And then you can actually just hard switch into your Zapdos, because what are they actually going to do? They're paralyzed, they might not even be able to attack, and even when they do, you're just going to Thunderbolt them right in the face. And so it's super good. And let's say for some reason that, you know, you switch into Zapdos, you take half from Waterfall, you can just roost them out. You're faster than them. They're eventually going to get paralyzed. That is an advantage you every single time. More often than not, you switch in Chansey, you completely stop their momentum, and you can put up a Thunder Wave if you need it. It's great at neutering things like Mewtwo, great at neutering things like Aerodactyl, Gengars, Starmies. So many things get neutered by this Thunder Wave and make these Pokemon absolutely useless. So you can come in with your slower power Pokemon like Nidoking and Mew and just destroy them, just tear them up, and you can teleport to actively pick which Pokemon you use to punish them after they've decided to stay in, or if they switch. If they switch to counter punish you, if they double switch, or if they do anything, you are in complete control thanks to your use of Chansey Teleport. So this Pokemon is absolutely amazing. You can see a lot of times when I play against Chansey, no one uses Chansey quite like this, by the way. I'm wondering if me making this video is actually going to make a surge in Chansey usage. But, yeah, I always respect the potential that Chanseys can go for when doing this. And I think this Chansey moveset is so much better. You do not need Toxic. Like, I don't want to hear comments about, like, I like your set, but I use Toxic. Toxic is incorrect. You need to use Thunder Wave on them. Thunder Wave gives you the free KO. Toxic leaves you open to, like, you're spamming softball and trying to wall them out. Toxic leaves a percent chance for you to get, like, crits or, like, switched on, or they can do so many things. But if you Thunder Wave them and just teleport into something that can one-shot them, because you do have the power, you take care of the issue immediately. There's no option for them to outplay or timer stall you or set up, or maybe they can use rest later. Like, nah, you got them. You got him, champ. Remember, like, let's say you just Thunder Wave them, and they're like, well, I can just use Rest. You can't use Rest if you're at full. So, like, there's a lot of situations where this set gives you the KOs that you need to succeed. And I've talked so much about Chansey, I haven't even talked about the rest of the Pokemon. These other Pokemon are the ones that get you the big damage. So it's not just Thunder Waves that this team's packing, even though it does pack a lot of Thunder Waves. So we're going to talk about Gengar and what Gengar actually brings to the table. So you have to be using a timid Gengar here. It has to be speed-natured. Gengar's base 110 speed, goes up to 130 base, which speed ties things like Mewtwo and Mega Aerodactyl. And so if you don't want to just go second, which I highly recommend you at least be timid so you might have a chance of going first, you got to be timid or some sort of speed nature. So my moveset is Substitute, Will-O-Wisp, Sludge Bomb, and Shadow Ball. I love having Sludge Bomb and Shadow Ball, and a lot of you guys are going to say, I like your Gengar set, but you need Mega Drain and Psychic. And I'm not trying to make fun of you guys. If you guys run a Mega Drain and Psychic, that's totally fine. But on this team, what this team's actually made for, if you look at the things that I said I was weak against, you know, I need this moveset. I need the Will-O-Wisp to be able to punish the ground Pokemon. It's a good idea to have sub if you plan on Chansey has Thunder Wave, Starmie has Thunder Wave, Zapdos could have Thunder Wave if you wanted to, and Mew has Thunder Wave. That's 3 Thunder Wave users. If I have so many things that are Thunder Wave, of course I'm going to send out Gengar and fish for those paras as many times as possible to get a free sub with Substitute. So looking at it, Sludge Bomb is my strongest stab move at base 90. Shadow Ball's amazing at KOing all the psychic types that I said this team did have a problem with. It also deals like a lot of damage to like other ghost types, and just a bunch of random Pokemon take really big damage from Shadow Ball. Also note that a lot of Pokemon can resist the Sludge Bomb, so you kind of have to use Shadow Ball on a lot of stuff. You'd be surprised. But Shadow Ball is the move. If you had to change it for something, you could change Shadow Ball out. You don't really need Taunt on this thing. We're using Sub in a very similar way. Instead of going for like a Taunt to stop like a Sleep Powder, I can just put a Sub up, you know? The only thing I could see myself taunting is Stealth Rocks, but if you look at the team, I'm not really weak to Stealth Rocks. My Zapdos is weak to Stealth Rocks, and my Zapdos has a recovery move. Chansey has a recovery move. Mew has a recovery move. Like, Nidoking takes reduced damage. Starmie's health points don't matter. So, again, you're not really weak to Stealth Rock. If they want to get Stealth Rocks up and take a turn, they can totally go for it. And you're probably going to see it in the actual games that I show you, where I let my opponent get Stealth Rock and just win the game, like, every single time. It's so free. So, yeah, Gengar has a very unique moveset, but it's very optimized for the exact team that it needs. And you should always be changing your team's movesets based on the type of role and the situation that, you know, they can be filled in. Like, let's think about Let's Go versus, like, you know, Ultra Sun and Moon and other games. You know, it's totally common practice to use, like, very similar movesets and EVs and, you know, items, stuff like that in multiple teams. But in Let's Go, there's so much less optimization you can do. You know, you can't use EVs, you can't use items, you can't use abilities. You can only really pick natures and moves. Like, you should just be using full IVs on all your Pokemon most of the time, barring, like, being able to live through reduced damage from like Stealth Rocks and stuff like that. So you can only really change your moves and your nature. And so you need to optimize your moves for the fullest potential every time. If there's a move that is not 100% useful in all situations, like, you do not need to cut it. If there's no reason to have a move, like, you should never have it. Like using Shadow Ball and Jolteon. Like, there's not a situation where that actively gets you things that Thunderbolt doesn't, that aren't just like you. Like, I'll use this example because I have to answer this so many times a day. Maybe I'll hope that someone watches this video. You know, Jolteon, it can use Shadow Ball, right? It can use Shadow Ball and Thunderbolt. So Shadow Ball, if it's super effective against like a Mewtwo or, you know, like an Alakazam, it's a 160 base versus Thunderbolt is it's a 90 and its stabbed goes up to 135. So you're only getting 25 more base power. And in that situation, you need like the same amount of Thunderbolts to KO as you do Shadow Balls. They both do relatively amount the same damage. Like, Shadow Ball does a little bit over half, and Thunderbolt does about half. So since you need 2 to KO with each of them anyways, there's no reason to have Shadow Ball. And you maybe think like, you gotta hit the ground types with Shadow Ball for a fat 25% if you really want to, because it's neutral. You don't stab it. Jolteon's not like a powerhouse. I'd rather just pop a Reflect and switch into something that takes heavily reduced damage and then just one-shots them right out. I'd rather pop a Reflect and switch to Starmie. That's what I'd rather do, and in doing that, you get a free Reflect and don't lose your Jolteon. Like, that sounds like a win to me, so it's a good example of always using the correct moves for every single situation. Every single move has to be 100% thought out and, you know, put on your Pokemon for a very specific situation. So, now that's over me talking about Starmie here. And this Starmie moveset, I like using the Modest Starmie to use it before. Really, really good. Most people would recommend Timid. I really like using Modest. I've also seen people talk about using, like, Bold and with Recover and stuff like that, but for this team, actually, let's talk about that. Bold Starmie might be pretty good here. But look at what we're trying to do. We have a second Thunder Wave user. We have Thunderbolt to pin other things like Starmies, Blastoise, Gyarados. Those are all Pokemon that could potentially be a problem, especially the Gyarados and Mega Gyarados. Scald's great for punishing. This is going to be your lead most of the time. When you see me play the game, you're going to lead Starmie and then pivot to something like Chansey or Zapdos, depending on you know, what they're going to be going into. And Psychic's really good at punishing those fighting types. This is your fast sweeper. This is your late game Pokemon you can just come in with after they've already exhausted all of their resources, picking off your Chansey or Zapdos. You bring in the Starmie and you deal like 60+% to all their Pokemon and you win the game. So Starmie's very, very good. You've seen me use it a ton of times, and it's like a secondary Gengar with better defensive typing. So we're gonna look at Zapdos here. And we're using a Timid Zapdos now. We're using a Timid Zapdos. I feel that Timid's a little bit better for how I want to play Zapdos, but you could also go Modest. I've also seen people use Bold or Calm. At the end of the day, Zapdos is a special attacker. I'm going to look at my moveset and see why it actually is really good. Note that we don't have U-turn. I'm not a big fan of U-turn on Zapdos. If you want to use it, it's completely up to you, but you're not using this Zapdos the way it's meant to be played. So we're not using Drill Peck. We're not using Thunder Wave. We're using Substitute Toxic Roost Thunderbolt. So more often than not, this is how you're going to play Zapdos. You have a Zapdos. You expect your opponent is going to switch into their ground type, because that's what happens when you use Zapdos. On the switch, you are going to pop a Toxic, and the reason you pop Toxic over Sub is because Toxic can miss. And let's say, I think in one of the games as an example, my opponent had like a Starmie, right? And so I was like, man, I know he's going to switch to Rhydon, and so I kind of want to sub, but I realistically thought about it. Let's talk about the strengths and minuses about going either or. I decided to go for the Toxic in that situation, because Toxic, again, it's a 90 base move. It can miss, right? So I did hit it, but let's say I didn't hit my Toxic on that switch. I'd be super down. Like, he has his Rhydon in there, he could set up rocks, he can go for rock slides, and I'm caught with my pants down. The optimal play would have been to hit the Toxic and then just spam Substitute and Roost and wall him out, which is exactly what I did. But let's say I subbed versus the Starmie, and he switched into Rhydon. Well, then I have to go and hit my Toxic next turn, and if, like, I miss my Toxic and he rock slides me, I'm at the exact same spot, and I'm down 25% of my health just for a missed Toxic. So, in one situation, like, you know, I just miss my Toxic and have to reapply it. In the second situation, I've, like, you know, down Toxic and 25% of my health, and my moveset's revealed, and it's like really, really bad. So in that situation, it's more often than not, when you know they're going to switch to their ground type, with Zapdos, you want to hit a Toxic, or any Toxic staller that has this type of playstyle. You want to go for Toxic first. And if you have any questions about that, please, please, please leave a comment in the below, and I'll be able to elaborate a little bit more. Like I said, I think I'm using one of those videos where I did that in this little video as like a part of it, the game you guys are going to see. So, sub-Toxic Roost Thunderbolt. Let's talk about another situation. If they, more often than not, your opponents are going to want to get up rocks, even though, like I said, rocks are very good versus this team. So, you know, again, what's going to happen is they are going to go first turn, Zapdos Rhydon, or Zapdos Golem, or Zapdos Aerodactyl, or actually, it is Zapdos Aerodactyl, I'm just going to Thunderbolt you, but like Zapdos, literally anything that uses Stealth Rocks, Mew, Nidoqueen, actually not Nidoking. You just leave against Nidoqueens and Nidokings. That's kind of what happens. You just gotta leave against those. Those are really good Pokemon. Like, case in point, we're using one. Anything you can Toxic. So you're gonna pop a Toxic. They're gonna pop rocks. You use Substitute, Roost, and, you know, narrowly try to avoid all of their Earthquakes they could potentially go for, because remember, Roost makes you lose your Flying typing for the turn that you use Roost, and so if you use Roost, you go first, you lose your Flying typing, they can clock you right in the mouth with an Earthquake, and so you have to be able to weave substitutes in there, and so try and make them use like Earthquake on a turn you might use Sub, and in doing so, it creates a little bit of a 50-50, but you're the player that's in charge of it because you're the one that's forcing the 50-50, so it's up to you whether, you know, you just got to gauge the situation. It's a little bit RNG, but you got to be able to effectively manage your health total. And you can wall out any Rock Slide, Earthquake, Stealth Rock user. And sure, they're going to get rocks up on you, but then they're not going to have their big rock Pokemon anymore. And, you know, big rock Pokemon, you know, the ones that have physical attacks, you know, the things that, like, you need a physical attacker or it's like Chansey's going to stick stock you. Yeah, when they go down their Rhydon or their Golem or something like that early, and they've effectively lost that part of their core that lets them beat the Chansey. Also, if you lose their Rhydon, Zapdos can start Thunderbolt and stuff, and Zapdos is a legendary, ain't no slouch. I've 6-stocked so many people with this freaking Zapdos, it's ridiculous. So Zapdos is an amazing Pokemon. It's the best Toxic Staller in the format, in my opinion, because it doesn't have to just Toxic, it can just KO things if it wants. So we're looking at what Nidoking, and like I said, Nidoking is amazing because you can't Toxic it. It's very similar to Dugtrio in that, you know, it can't get Toxic, and, you know, it's a ground type. But note that Nidoking gets Taunt, has Stealth Rocks. I have Ice Punch here, and if I had to cut one move, Ice Punch would be the move to cut. So this is the type of situation where you guys can actually leave comments and let me know what you think I should use on this Nidoking. I've used Poison Jab before, but then, you know, we have some bad matchups. I've used Mega Horn. He gets so many really good moves, but I think Ice Punch is really good because it punishes Dragonite. And if we look at the team here, Dragonite can kind of get in there. I don't have Ice Beam on this Starmie. I have Will-O-Wisp, but I have to hit it. Zapdos, you know, if the Dragonite gets going, you know, I need something to put a stop to that. And after rocks, and Ice Punch, you can actually KO the Dragonite. So that's the main reason why I have it. It's my Dragonite check, because Dragon is a very popular Pokemon right now. It also is good at catching, like, grass Pokemon on the Switch-In. I've caught 2 or 3 Parasects on the Switch-In and just popped them in the face with Ice Punch. It's so good, because I expect to be able to switch it on the Earthquake and wall it. So, case in point, Earthquake, things that wall Earthquake are flying and grass types. Ice Punch punishes those things. It makes sense to me. So, pretty good Pokemon. Definitely really good. I would never lead Nidoking unless it was extremely safe, because Rock's really important, but I feel that Nidoking is your one physical attacker. Look at the team. You only have one. If you want something to beat another Chansey or like an Alolan Muck, this is it. You can't just fodder this Pokemon. You have to come in when it's safe, when your opponent can't actively threaten it, especially like when they're using their Zapdos. Put up a Stealth Rocks, go for anything you want, but do not fodder this Pokemon because it's your only physical attacker. It's the only shot you're going to get. It's good against things like Snorlax and things like that. You just got to play with it very, very smart. And so you may be thinking, you're looking at the team, it has very, very low kill potential. Like Chansey can wall things, Gengar can take advantage of things and kind of sweep. Starmie, again, another Pokemon that's kind of weak, but likes to hit first. So we got things that hit first, things that can hit first, things that can wall, things that have unique typing. And Mew's the reason why we actually win a lot of games. And like I said, Alolan Muck was a big problem because we have a couple Toxic Stallers, we got a couple walls, that's why you got to preserve a Nidoking. But we're going to be using Mew here. Note that my Mew's quiet, and I really don't recommend quiet. It's just that's the one that you get. And another thing, like disclaimer here, I know I'm using Mew, and a lot of people are like, that's you always say that Mew is an Uber just like Melmetal because you can't get him because you got to pay for the Pokeball Plus. The main reason I'm using Mew is actually, we're going to look at my moveset. A bunch of other Pokemon can actually do exactly what this Mew's doing. I just choose to use this one because it's going to be put to Uber by Smogon in about a week, and I'm like, I'm never going to be able to make Mew content ever again. And so, might as well use it while you can until it gets banned. So, yeah, Thunder Wave, Roost, Calm Mind, Psychic. And you may be thinking, that's a Mew gets Nasty Plot. I know I'm doing this, like, fake voice thing a lot, but Mew gets Nasty Plot. Yeah, Nasty Plot doesn't boost your special defense, my guy. It's not about boosting your offensive stats, it's about making you bulky. So, the way this is going to work is Mew can come in on almost any Pokemon, put up a Thunder Wave, right? Put up a Thunder Wave, bring them down to your level. So bring them back down to normal. Like, let's say they leave Aerodactyl. You lead Mew, they pop Stealth Rocks, Thunder Wave. Alright, they're going to do Rock Slide you? Okay. Calm Mind. Rock Slide does about 50%. Congrats. Not even 50%, by the way, unless if they Mega, it might do 50. And so, once you do 50%, you just Roost. Wait for them to get a Para on themselves. And then, when they do it again, you use another Calm Mind. You now have 2 Calm Minds. You are now in, like, super serious levels. Like, think about it. When Mewtwo's and Alakazam's get a Calm Mind off, when they get 1 Calm Mind off, they can one-shot most Pokemon after rocks. If Mew gets 2 Calm Minds off, it's about as strong as they are. Actually, it's a lot stronger. And it's just gonna fucking roll everything. One-hit KO every single Pokemon. And you're pretty bulky on this Pokemon, so you're gonna be able to soak an attack, put up a Thunder Wave, and you're especially increasing your bulk because you're putting your special defense in by Calm Mind. So this Pokemon can 6-stock teams as well, but it can't hit any Dark Pokemon. So you gotta save your Mew until it's time to sweep. And so Mew's a really good Pokemon to, again, like, Mew's one of the best Pokemon to, like, let's say you have one of these Pokemon out, you switch to Chansey Mid to get some damage, you can put up a Thunder Wave if you want, but you teleport out into Mew at the perfect opportunity when their pants are down. Like, let's say they have, like, a Venusaur. You switch out of the Mew, you know they're going to switch, pop that first Calm Mind, and you're off to the races, because they're not going to be able to one-shot you anymore. You put up your Thunder Wave, Roost until they get parried, Calm Mind when you can, and just Psychic out everything else. Note that I did also use the PP Maxes, or PP ups and stuff like that on Psychic. I should probably use it on Roost as well. I should probably use those things more often, but again, like I said, Mew's going to get banned to Uber. Not because it's broken per se, but because, it's not as easy to get, and a lot of people don't want to shell out the $50 for the Pokeball Plus. So that is the team. That is the team. I hope you guys liked it. As always, you guys can definitely leave those comments in the comments below, asking any and every type of question you want. I will answer anything. And I want to know also, do you guys like this? I'm going really in-depth with this team, if you can't tell. I'm going super in-depth, talking about every little thing that you're doing. And I have one more thing to talk about before we get into TMs and before we get into the battles. We're going to talk about the importance of ordering your team. And this order pretty much says, I have Chansey. Right? That's what it says. You want to let them realize mid-game that they can't beat you because of Chansey. You don't want them to look at it and be like, oh shit. Because if they will get like this team preview, what they're going to see is they're like, okay, it's Chansey. What do I use to punish Chansey? Oh shit, I can't punish the Chansey. This way really telegraphs that we're trying to play around Chansey. So we want to hide that as best as possible. We want to disguise the fact that Chansey's our main Pokemon. We want to put Nidoking in front. We want him to tunnel on the Nidoking, which I said we never lead with. And they're going to be leading with the things that punish Nidoking. So what punishes Nidoking? Ground Pokemon. It looks like we can trade rocks, but you know, Nidoking is at a disadvantage for something like Rhydon or Golem, because even though we have super effective moves against them, they're bulky enough they're going to one-shot us back with Earthquake. So we're going to try and bait them as best as possible to lead with ground Pokemon, rock Pokemon, flying Pokemon, and what is it, the last one, water Pokemon, because water Pokemon are super effective as well. So all those Pokemon, we're going to bait them to our best potential to, you know, use those to punish us. We're actually going to put Chansey second here, because we want our Stealth Rocks. We want them to think we're going big into Stealth Rocks, and doing everything in your power to make it look like your team is leading Stealth Rocks is super, super important. So the next thing that we do to draw you know, things away from the fact that we're trying to punish that, we're going to put Gengar here. So we're going to show them that we have a little bit of synergy with Gengar, just a little bit of synergy, and then what we're actually going to do is we're going to put Mew here. And we're going to put, like, I think we do, yeah, this was the order I had. So what we're doing in this situation is we're showing we have a ton of weaknesses. So they're going to be tunneling on two things. They're going to be tunneling on the Nidoking Stealth Rocks core, or they're going to be tunneling on the fact that we are super, super weak to like ghost attacks and other things. And so in doing so, we're going to be able to see a lot of things off their lead. So like, let's say if this is the way I organized it, and your opponent's leading with Jolteon, that's a really good tell that their opponent's Jolteon has Shadow Ball, which is relatively common. Or other Shadow Ball Pokemon, or like, let's say I lead with this is a really good team that says, hey, you should bring that Kingler. Kingler's really good against Nidoking. Kingler has X's, or it's really good against Mew and Starmie. This is really good at telegraphing your opponent's plays, and when they lead with something, you can gauge a lot more out of their moveset based off the order in which you bait them in. And what this really does is it really hides the fact that you can go, the real leads in this team, the two Pokemon you always can lead with that are good leads, are actually Starmie and Zapdos, and it's the last things that they look at. They look at every other thing. They're like, oh, Nidoking's a good lead, Chansey's a good lead, Mew's a decent lead. 90% of the time you're going Starmie, the other 10% of the time you're going Zapdos, when Starmie is ineffective. And Starmie's only really ineffective against other Starmies, in my opinion. Zapdos is a much better punish. So that's the way we want to lead. This is the organization that we actually want to have. It also like really highlights the fact that this team is a Gengar team, and like I said, Gengar is not really the main point, but it is definitely the best Mega for coming up for Chansey's weakness. So that is the order. Let me know if you have any questions about the order, and I can definitely go in depth talking about the order. I've also made a video, maybe I'll link it in the description, talking about how to win games from the team preview and how to analyze your opponent's team a little bit more. I might make an updated one of those for Let's Go, because there's so many things I can tell right off the team preview. If you guys look at any of my games, 90% of them are games I just win by calling my opponent's lead and continuing to have momentum. And this type of team does the exact same thing. What I'm trying to bait them into leading are water types. I can Thunderbolt those with Starmie. You know, even Psychic types, I can Thunderwave those with Starmie. You got Flying types, Thunderbolt with Starmie. You got Rock types, Ground types, Scald with Starmie. You see how Starmie's perfect coverage for something that looks like it, like a Nidoking would be really good bait for. So same thing with Chansey. Like you got fighting types, you got Stealth Rocks users, Starmie's perfect punish. And the thing about it is, like I already said, anything that beats the Starmie, you switch to Chansey and it completely mitigates it. Or if you really know they're going to U-turn you, switch to Zapdos, completely mitigates it. And Zapdos is our other really strong lead, and it forces like a really good pivot later on in the game. So that is the team itself. We're going to go into the TM section. I'm going to talk about a few TMs, because a lot of you guys wanted this TM section, even though I'm sure you guys are all good enough players to not need it anymore. But Blizzard, obviously, Blizzard's not that great in any of these situations. I think all of my moves are really, really good, but remember the TM section is here, so you guys can see what moves these Pokemon learn, so you can prepare yourselves for that in the future. So None's really using Blizzard. Nidoking can get Brick Break, and I actually wanted to slightly talk about that because I do have that extra slot, but this makes me almost impossible to fight things like Zapdos and other flying types. So Brick Break's not really my favorite, but being able to break screens is huge, humongous. Calm Mind, I already have it on Mew, it's amazing. You can also on Chansey as well if you want to make your Chansey a special sweep and machine. Dark Pulse isn't that great, it's very similar to Shadow Ball, it's 80 base move, and those just aren't too hot. And if you have the choice to use Dark Pulse or Shadow Ball, more often than not, Shadow Ball's better, but Dark Pulse has a 20% chance to flinch, so maybe on Gengar if you really wanted it. Don't do it, because Gengar stabs the Shadow Ball. It's like the only Pokemon that should be using Shadow Ball, but you get the idea. Drill Run's not that great. It's good on Nidoking in singles. Sorry, in doubles, not in singles, because it can miss, but it's a single target move. Has a chance for crit, but I don't really think it's amazing. D-Pulse, also note that Nidoking and Mew can learn that. Kind of funny that Nidoking can learn D-Pulse, but I'm not too a fan. Also, no, I think I forgot to mention it. My Nidoking's Jolly. You should be using a speed-natured Nidoking. Timid, Jolly, Naive. It can be a mixed Pokemon. It can be mixed, physical, special, what have you. You can do so many different things, but Nidoking's really, really good. We got Dazzling Gleam. A lot of Pokemon can learn it. Starmie, Gengar, Chansey, Mew. All these can learn it. It's really just not that great. Even though, like I said, our team struggles with fighting types. We have, like, a bajillion checks to fighting types. We have like 2 huge stabbed psychic users and a bunch of other Pokemon really punished. We don't really need Dazzling Gleam. EQ, Nidoking, our only physical attacker Pokemon, has it. Mew, I've also seen people like splash Mew, make like a mixed sweeper with like U-turn, Earthquake, and then like Psychic, like Stealth Rock, stuff like that. I've seen people do that. Facade's kind of okay. Again, it's another physical attack. Fire Blast is pretty good. I've seen people use it on Mew. And Fire Punch is also kind of good. I've seen people use it on Nidoking as well. I feel that Ice Punch does exactly what you want Fire Punch to do. Like, what are you going to be Ice Punching? Or, sorry, what are you going to be Fire Punching? A Grass Pokemon? You mean the type of thing you can Ice Punch? No real reason to have Fire Punch, because Ice Punch also hits Flying types, which Fire Punch can hit, but it's not super effective. So, Ice Punch is just better than Fire Punch. Against, like, maybe against, like, Melmetal, you want to Fire Punch it, but I have Earthquake. So I don't really need it in that situation. Against Melmetal, this team kind of struggles, but again, you can just Thunder Wave them out, Will-O-Wisp it if you want, and then go in for like really big punishes, because you can go for like big Shadow Balls and Scalds against Melmetal. Melmetal is a bit of a problem, but I've definitely been able to outplay them with this team. Foul Play, I've seen people use that on Gengar, and it's kind of weird. I'm not really a big fan. It's just that Gengar has a really high base speed, so you can like Foul Play really big physical attackers. Like I said, I'm not that big of a fan of it. I'd rather just Will-O-Wisp them. Fly, no one's really learning that. Flash Cannon, again, not that great. Flamethrower, obviously the common Pokemon can learn it. I'd rather go Fire Blast more often than not, because these Pokemon don't stab the Flamethrower, so you really want that big damage from Fire Blast. Even to be able to two-shot a lot of Pokemon, you'd be surprised. Headbutt's not too awesome. Helping Hand's a doubles move. Ice Beam, a lot of these Pokemon can learn it. I kind of recommend it on Mew. I'd rather use Scald, I think, and that's pretty much that. I got the Ice Punch. Outrage, Nidoking can learn Outrage, but I really do not recommend Outrage because, obviously, like I said, we're made to check Dragonite. Outrage actually does less damage to Dragonite. Outrage is a 120. You do not stab it. It goes up to 240. Ice Punch is a 75. That's 4 times effective, so it's going to be 300. It's better to use Ice Punch. Mega Drain. Gengar's use Mega Drain. I'm not a fan of it, especially on this type of team, but I've definitely seen people use it like sub Mega Drain to get that health back so you can use more subs and other things like that. People definitely use Mega Drain on Gengar. It's just not too great on this team. Chansey, Mew, and Starmie can learn Light Screen. That's something you can't sleep on. Definitely watch out for the rise in Light Screen Starmies. It's going to start being very popular on the ladder. You'd be very surprised. Reflect Starmie, again, can also get Reflect. It can get Recover. It can get Toxic. Like Toxic, Recover, Dual Screen Starmie. So good. Also note that Nidoking can learn Reflect, something you probably didn't know. Chansey can also learn Reflect to make its meager defensive stat actually pretty good. It doubles its 10 base and makes it so it can just tank physical attacks and just style on people. It just becomes an absolute monster, just a little bit more defense. If it was like a bold-natured Chansey with a Reflect, holy moly, you're going to do like a third with Earthquake, and that's not a good look at all. Chansey can learn Psychic, but also Gengar, like I said, can learn Psychic. I just don't really think it's that good. Like, what are you punishing with Psychic? Like, fighting types? It's just not worth it. It doesn't really even KO unless they're at like 70%. I'd rather just go for a Sludge Bomb. Like, Psychic's the same type of thing where even if it's super effective, it goes to 180, that's great, but I already have such a limited move pool, and Sludge Bomb goes up to 135 that it's a 2-shot most of the time if they're at full anyways. So you're going to need 2 Psychics to KO like a Machamp. You're going to need 2 Sludge Bombs to kill Machamp. There's no reason to use Psychic in that situation, in my opinion, if that's like the team that you're playing. Because like, I'm not trying to chip things with like multiple Stealth Rocks and switches. I'm just trying to hit things hard and fast and go for those one-shots, and Psychic doesn't really give me that. Protect's not that awesome because in singles, Play Rough, not going to be really using that. Rest is okay. I've seen people use Rest on a couple of these Pokemon, but obviously not on this team. Rock Slide, I've talked about using Rock Slide on Nidoking, but it's kind of similar to Fire Punch. Like, yeah, I can Rock Slide the flying types, but like against the ground types, it's like meh. And Nidoking, sure, you can go for Flinch, but Rock Slide can also miss. It has a 30% chance to flinch. I have used Rock Slide on Nidoking, but like, what are you trying to flinch? What flying types are slower than Nidoking? And the answer is like none of them. More often than not, you're going for like a Hail Mary. I have to flinch this and then use Earthquake, and against like a Venusaur or something, and it's just really not a good look at all. Like, you're not going to be faster than a Zapdos or anything like that, so Rock Slide's not really optimal. I guess it's okay if I find things like Zapdos, Charizard, Moltres, let's say Zapdos. I meant Moltres. Moltres, Charizard, Articuno. 4 times Pokemon that are weak against that. That's okay. But again, I really just think Ice Punch is better coverage more often than not. Roost is pretty good. Everything that can learn it, learns it. It's a really good recovery move. Scald, I've talked about using it on Mew. Starmie has it. Sludge Bomb, Gengar has it. Shadow Ball, Gengar has it. And no one else because it's bad. Self-Destruct, Gengar can learn it. Watch out for that. It's not going to do a lot of damage, but it'd be pretty funny. Seismic Toss, Chansey has it. That's how it should be down. Solar Beam's not too good. Stealth Rocks, if you really needed a second Stealth Rocks user, you can make Mew a Stealth Rocks user. But I'm not a fan of Stealth Rocks Mew. I think that Mew can do so many better things that just relegating it to being a Stealth Rocks user, it just makes me sad. It just makes me sad, that's all. I'm not really a big fan of Stealth Rocks Mew. Sub's really good, and we only have Sub on 2 Pokemon on this team. I think Sub's amazing. It's probably one of the best TMs in the game ever made, in my opinion. Superpower. Ooh, Superpower Nidoking over the Ice Punch. Again, could be very good. Like, after Stealth Rocks damage, you might be able to, like, do a lot of damage, something like a Snorlax. Checking other Chanseys, that might be pretty good. But, you know, I'm not really that big of a fan of it. Again, I still think Ice Punch does bring more to the table. Thunderbolt. Gengar can learn Thunderbolt. Definitely can. And there are arguments to be made for Thunderbolt, because there's a lot of water types. Believe it or not, most teams have, like, at least 1, but sometimes 2 water types. And, like, Thunderbolt gives you a 2-shot on Lapras, whereas I don't think Sludge Bomb gives you a 2-shot. So there's scenarios where Thunderbolt on like a full offensive Gengar is useful. This just isn't one of them. Teleport, Chansey has it, but note that Starmie can get it too. And like I said, Starmie's on the Pokemon to get those dual screens. Like, I think there's definitely potential there for like screens, wall Starmie. Taunt's pretty good. Gengar and Mew aren't learning it, but obviously Nidoking is our big taunt user. Surf's on here. I don't think you need Surf on Starmie. I think Scald's so much better. Toxic. If Nidoking were to use it, it couldn't miss. Maybe you put Toxic as that last slot. There's arguments to be made if there wasn't like 3 Thunderwave users in this team. But yeah, Chansey also is a very common Toxic staller, but I really don't think that's the best way to play it. I think that it's better to Thunderwave, break the wrist, teleport out, walk away, and, you know, just punish really hard with a Pokemon that has a super effective attack into their, you know, typing that is weak against it. U-Turn's pretty good. Zapdos and Mew are common U-Turn users, but I'm just not a fan because they're not really physical attackers at all. Mew kind of is, but it's just like, it's not really because it doesn't stab any physical attacks. Zapdos can get Drill Peck, but again, that doesn't make it a physical attacker. U-Turn's okay, but this team really just uses Teleport to pick which one Pokemon, like you're reacting to them. U-Turn is more proactive in a bad way, versus Teleport is a very aggressive way to react because it's immediate and it's punishing, versus U-Turn's like, I hope they don't switch or, you know, do something like that. I hope they don't punish me. Hope they don't keep me honest, you know. I'm not a big fan of U-Turn on those Pokemon because like, a lot of the times with U-Turn, in my opinion, you want to KO someone and then go into something that's safe. You want to use U-Turn as kind of like an awkward teleport. You want to KO something and get a free switch. And unless you're really doing big damage with U-Turn, I don't really think it's worth it. So Will-O-Wisp, Gengar has it. Note that Mew can also learn it because it can learn everything, but that's a pretty good move. If you don't want to use Thunder Wave on Mew, you can definitely use Will-O-Wisp to make it so you can neuter their physical attack and make it so Calm Mind boosts your special attack. It's pretty good, but I still think Thunder Wave is a little bit better. X-Scissor, not too important. Waterfall, not too important. Thunder Wave's on every Pokemon that can learn it on the team because it's the best move in the game other than Sub. Thunder. I've been starting to see a lot more Thunder Starmies, and that just scares me. I don't think it's good. Gengar can also learn it. Mew, Chansey, Nidoking, they can all learn it, but I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan. Megahorn, Nidoking can also learn Megahorn, and I've seen people use it, and I've used it before. It doesn't get you KOs on a lot of stuff. Like, you don't KO like a Mewtwo with Megahorn, and that's kind of sad. Other than that, you're better off just using, you know, what are you going to, Megahorn a Grass type? You mean the thing you can Ice Punch and not miss? It's kind of similar. That's one of the problems with these type of moves that can just super miss. There's more often than not just a better move that also hits them that doesn't miss, has a better % chance effect of happening, and provides more coverage as well. So Bulk Up, not really great here. Poison Jab, it's a stabbed on Nidoking. So if you want to cut Ice Punch for a secondary stab move, Poison Jab's okay. That's a 30% chance to poison too, so that's pretty good. Dream Eater's not too hot, but a lot of things can learn it, so it's kind of funny. Even Starmie can learn it. You don't see that every day. Iron Tail, I've talked about using this on Nidoking. The only thing that you would want it for is Aerodactyl after Stealth Rocks gets KO'd from Iron Tail, but that's just not worth it. In what world do you have Stealth Rocks up on your Nidoking? So you've already got the rocks up, and then they bring in their Aerodactyl after rocks, and you have a chance to Iron Tail Tail, you're better off just like switching to something that can deal with it, or just going for an Ice Punch and getting them low enough to where you can finish off with any of these things. It's kind of funny. Also, the Iron Tail can totally whiff. Same thing as Mega Horn, but there is a scenario which it is technically usable. So those are all the TMs I have, guys. I just want to say once again, thank you so much for watching so far, and you guys can totally leave multiple comments, and I'll answer every single one of them. You can, every single time you got one, just leave another one, and I'll answer. Every single comment makes the video do better in the algorithm. And, yeah, I just want to say thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you guys liked the video so far. We're going to be hopping into some videos of me using the team from a recent live stream. So it's going to show you guys how to use the team in-game to its fullest potential, how it shows off the use of pivots correctly, and just shows off how to correctly soak damage and punish people for it. So I just want to say, guys, enjoy the videos, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. We see Mewtwo, Aerodactyl, Sandslash, Snorlax, Lapras, and Muck. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, you know, how to win the games in the team preview. We're going to talk about what he can do, and we're going to go into risk management, right? We're going to talk about what's the worst things that can happen from every situation. If he leads Mewtwo, right? What's he going to try and do with Mewtwo? What does him leading Mewtwo even say? Him leading Mewtwo thinks he's going to roll us, right? Leading Mewtwo means he probably has an affinity for going X. It's good against Chansey. It's good against Nidoking. Nidoking looks like it's our Stealth Rocks user. We have two obvious Stealth Rocks users in Nidoking and Chansey, also Pseudo Mew. So if he leads Mewtwo, that means he's probably like a mix set with like, you know, Brick Break, maybe Earthquake, Psychic, Shadow Ball. That's what a Mewtwo lead would look like, right? We do not have enough time to talk about all this. Aerodactyl is a secondary Stealth Rocks user. Sandslash is a Stealth Rocks user that I can get up first, but it's like a counter lead to Nidoking. I'm probably going to go Starmie here. And you see I go Starmie a lot, but look at what Starmie does. Starmie can Thunder Wave Mewtwo. Starmie can Thunder Wave Aerodactyl. Starmie can Scald the Sandslash. What's Sandslash going to do? Against Snorlax, I can go for a Scald if I want. Against Lapras, I can go for a Thunderbolt. And against Muck, I'm going to switch most likely. So yeah, we're just going to go Starmie. Because that's the way I've organized this team, is to make it look like I do 3 or 4 other things, and then there's one thing that I like to do that I have my options covered for me, because Starmie's a Pokemon that has such good coverage. I don't always lead with Starmie. I lead with Zapdos a lot if I can punish something like an Aerodactyl, and they don't have like a ton of ground types or things that I don't want to fight. But I think since we ran out of time in this team preview, the right answer is to go for Starmie here. It's either Starmie or Zapdos, I think, is my lead in this situation. So let's see what he's going to go for, because Zapdos is much better versus like a Muck, in my opinion. But let's see how he actually wants to handle this. Let's see if he leads with a Muck. Yeah, Muck would have been the bad lead for me. So this is a fine lead. I'll take his Stealth Rocks. If he wants to go for a Rock Slide, I think Rock Slide is better than Crunch, because Rock Slide does have the chance to flinch, and you can go like Rock Slide, or then Rock Slide and then Crunch. But we have to hit our Thunder Wave here. If we hit our Thunder Wave, we're in a pretty decent position. He's going for the Rocks. Again, I have no problem with this. Like, if you look at his team, he's like, this guy has no check for my first turn Rocks. I technically don't have a check for your first turn Rocks, but also if you look at my team, I'm not weak to Rocks. I have one Pokemon that has a Rocks weakness, and that Pokemon has a recovery move. So we're in a very, very good spot here. He's now paralyzed with the Aerodactyl, and like I said, let's say I just went for Scald. He could have went Rock, Scald, and then I would have 8 attack and Scald again, or I go for the Thunder Wave there. It completely neuters that Pokemon. It's completely out of the game now, and I still get my Scald. I still get the guaranteed 1 Scald that I would have got, because like, let's say he didn't use Stealth Rocks and he just went for a Rock Slide. If I would have went for a Scald right there, he could have went Rock Slide again, and I would have not had a chance to get my secondary Scald. This guarantees hitting a Thunder Wave that I get my 1 Scald, and then I also have the option for more Scalds in the future, because we got the Para to cripple his speed tiering. So we're going for this. We crippled his speed tiering. We're fishing for Paras. Do we get the Para? Be rewarded? That's what I'm talking about. Reward, risk management. I looked at the situation and I was like, well, I could have went for my 1 Scald, or, you know, I'm rewarded for my correct play and going for the Thunder Wave. So he's probably thinking, and you also gotta always think of it from your opponent's point of view. What is one thing you could be doing in any of your games, right, to get under your opponent's skin and like really be like, not like frustrate them or make them mad, but what makes their games hard to play? In this scenario, I think Scald is the right play. It's either Scald or Thunderbolt. Only reason why you would use Thunderbolt here is to catch a Lapras on the switch, but I also wouldn't mind burning a Lapras. I think I'm just going to go for the Scald here because I don't want to reveal any of my other moves, and I think he's just going to fodder there. That's totally fine. I don't have to show Thunderbolt at all. If I show Thunderbolt, which I do not mind showing Thunderbolt, if I show Thunderbolt, it means I don't have a move like Recover because I've already shown Thunder Wave. Like, Thunder Wave Recover Scald Psychic is what you would expect. If I show a move like Thunderbolt after already showing Scald and Thunder Wave, it means I don't have Recover, I probably don't have Ice Beam, and I'd like to keep that under wraps for the time being. I'm going to go for another Scald. Sorry, I'm going to go for another Thunder Wave. If he wants to pop a sub or a taunt, that's probably pretty good. I really hope he doesn't sub me. That'd be the worst case scenario. But he's going Mega. Let's see. Are you Mega? Mega Mewtwo Y, my guy. No sub. No sub. Shadow Ball. I can eat one unless he crits. I can eat one Shadow Ball unless he crits. We're going to switch to Chansey next turn. Oh! Wow, I just died. Is that a roll? That has to be a roll. What is the roll on that? That is disgusting, by the way. I thought I was going to... I've lived that at like 10 HP numerous times. That's fine. Then we're going to come with Chansey. And again, a lot of people think Chansey, they think Toxic Staller. He's most likely going to switch to Muck here. But I think this is totally fine. We're just going to go for a... Sorry, we're going to go for the Thunder Wave. If he has Brick Break, it shouldn't KO a Chansey because he's Mega Mewtwo Y. EQ, it won't KO because he didn't go X. 3 HP! 3 HP, baby. We take those all the way to the bank. All the way to the bank, yo! Put the Thunder Waves up! And now that we've neutered the X, now that we've neutered the Mewtwo Y, we're in a pretty decent spot. Just want to make sure that I'm not throwing here. Aerodactyl's gone. He has Rocks up. I need my Nidoking to be able to deal with Sand Slash and Muck, respectively, so I can't just fodder here. Yeah, I'm going to go for a Seismic Toss, I think. I'm just going to try and go for the Seismic Toss because there's nothing else to really do. And he's most likely just going to stand, but he gets a pair. So, like, that's why I say, like, I could have went for a soft boiled there. But note that he does, like, he almost takes my full health bar with, like, an EQ. So at this point, you just want to fish for damage. He's now within range for a, Gengar punish. Could the Mewtwo be modest? I guess it could be modest. I don't agree with Calm Mind at all. Again, because, like, we're doing too much damage, and eventually we're going to be able to bring out something and just really punish. It's possible he's modest. I don't think it KOs Chansey. Let me actually think about how I want to deal with this. I kind of want to go for a teleport here and go for a punish. We have a 2-shot on him. That's fine. He's pulling the trigger. He probably doesn't have the recover. So Chansey goes down. I can come in with Gengar. Gengar can KO from here, but I kind of want to see how I want to play it. Let's think about this. Mew's also decent. Here's a Calm Mind off. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to bring the Gengar out. I'm actually going to pop a sub because I think he's going to switch to, I think he's going to switch to Snorlax. I really see a Snorlax switch coming here. So let's see it. Show me that Snorlax switch. I'm popping a sub just to cover my bases here. He might be stubborn. A lot of the times when people get a boost off, yeah, he's playing stubborn here. When they get a boost off, they just try and, like, preserve it. And they're like, I don't want to switch. I have a boost. And, like, he's technically not wrong. But he has a perfect switch here going into Snorlax. And remember, he is paralyzed. He can totally waste his turn. Why would you even Shadow Ball there? You can just use Psychic. Never lucked, boys. Yeah, we're just going to Shadow Ball him, take him out. Sucks we got punished there. He kept us honest for sure. He definitely kept us honest. It's possible he knew that we were going to use Sub, because Sub is a very common move on Gengar. You know, I'm not going to say he misplayed into victory there, but, you know, he kept us honest. I do that a lot of the time, too. You see, that's a lot of the things that I do a lot of the time. I really like to keep people honest and be like, I'm going to force you to hit me. Like, once a Pokemon gets paralyzed and stuff like that, there's totally not worth keeping around for me later on in the game. I'm not going to rely on them. I'm just going to try my best to make it so my opponent doesn't get too much of an advantage while in my presence. So, let's see. He should be coming out with Muck or Snorlax Lapras. Ooh, I disagree with that. Oh, Hydro Pump would KO me, though. I don't even need Gengar. So he has Lapras. He has Lapras, Muck, Snorlax, and Sandslash. If I can do a lot to this Lapras, Nidoking can actually carry. So we're going for a Sludge Bomb. Glad I'm finally able to catch a stream. Watch, like, and subscribe. Yo, thank you, my guy. Appreciate it. We get that Poison off Sludge Bomb and take that all the way to the bank. Do you miss a Hydro Pump? Survey says Surf. I think I can live a Surf. I think I might be able to live just one. Just one Surf. Come on, Gengar. Lucky, lucky. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Gengar, extra thick. Extra thick Gengar. We should be able to KO Lapras. Let me think about this. 65, 70, 70, 140. We actually are going to go for a sub here and get one more tick We're gonna go for one more tick of Toxic, just to make sure we don't low roll a Sludge Bomb. It's possible we really high rolled that first one, and that might not break my sub. That might not break my sub, guys. Sub, are you bulky enough? Bug, dang it. Almost lucky. It's okay, but we are going to be able to take the Lapras out, and like I said, Lapras was like the main check to Nidoking. So let's see what else you got. I wish I had Destiny Bond. I'd go like Sludge Bomb and then Destiny Bomb the next one. It'd be so sick. So Sludge Bomb's going to be able to take this guy out here. Shoutouts to Poison. Sludge Bomb being a 90 base stab move, so underrated. Much better than Shadow Ball a lot of the time. So let's see. He has Muck, and he has Snorlax, and he has Sand Slash. If it's against Sand Slash, I'm actually just going to Shadow Ball it. Because, let's see. I resub, but for some reason it never showed. I can see that you resub, my guy. Thank you for the resub. If you're playing on mobile, I don't know how to push that, but there should be like a notification at the top of chat that says like send notification, but I can see it. I can definitely see it. Yeah, I said I'm going to Shadow Ball this thing. Put those subs all the way up. Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball's going to be doing neutral damage. Oh, he has the Ice Shard! Never lucky! Oh, crap! I did not expect Ice Shard. I should definitely expected Ice Shard, but I didn't. Let's see. I still have Zapdos, but he is very bulky. This is still the right play. If we can get this guy low enough to where we can come in and Earthquake him, we're going to be in an amazing spot. Snorlax and Muck do not just want to eat Earthquakes all day, all willy-nilly, but put those subs all the way up. Appreciate it. And if he wants to go for an Ice Punch after this, I think it's totally fine. Just going to pop a T-Bolt here. I want to see Ice Shards. LOL. He's probably going to go like Ice Punch and then Ice Shard. Let's see if he uses like a Mirror Coat. That'd be hilarious. Ice Punch. Yeah, Ice Punch plus Ice Shard will take us out. Let me see if there's actually a way to play around this. I don't need to keep Zapdos alive. I just want to do that. I just want to do that static damage. I think it's totally fine. Had to go to desktop to resub because it wasn't working on mobile. There should be an option up top in the chat to push to send notification. Alright, it's time for Antonio to come in and clean house. And what we're going to do here, we're going to try to rinse and repeat. He's going to go for an Ice Shard most likely because he knows that he's going down. I do not think that this game's won yet, but I do think I have shots. It depends on what his Snorlax set is. It really does depend on what his Snorlax is running. Mew cannot hit his Muck. I cannot make contact to Muck with my Mew. Right? And he knows that. Actually, he doesn't know that. He has no clue. So, we'll see. It's possible. It's possible. No, we can't time him either. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. Muck's a big problem. Yeah, that's the correct play. I'm going to go for the EQ. It should do over half. I want to see if he has an Earthquake as well, or if he's going to Body Slam. We'll see it. What do you got? EQ, baby! Show me that damage, Nidoking. Maybe he has like Ice Punch. Again, it doesn't KO. Oh, fuck! That does not do enough at all. Yawn. Okay. That's okay. I'm alright with this. This is actually not the worst thing. I think he's going to switch in the Muck. As long as the Muck doesn't have some sort of weird setup moves, I think we're okay. Because we're going to go into situations where we're going to get Thunder Waves off. I got a shiny Execute yesterday. It was modest. Dude, that's awesome. Don't trade it for a low and Executor. Don't evolve it and trade it. Let's see what he goes for. I want to see if he uses Yawn again. That'd be kind of funny. Body Slam? It's totally fine. Like I said, Mew is completely useless. I'd like to get one Psychic off so I can put him within range for Earthquake. Perfect! Hopefully this does put him within range. I'm pretty sure he's Impish. Ooh, not yet. There's a Yawn. Alright, so we see Yawn, Body Slam. I think I'm gonna go for another Psychic. I don't care about... Do I want a Thunder Wave, though? Do I need it? I'm gonna Psychic. He wants to switch in the Muck, that's fine. Perfect! I'll take that, dude! Please don't rest! Please don't rest. EQ? Oh, love it! So, his moveset is, Yawn. His moveset is Yawn, Body Slam, Earthquake. I bet his last move is Rest, but, like, what else am I gonna do, you know? If I just switch Nidoking, I'd still be in a bad spot. Yo, got your Siege ready. Modest 5 IV. Perfect. Oh, then that's not 5 IV, that's a 4 IV one. Please just KO me. Please KO me. No! No! That's game. I should have switched to Nidoking that turn to punish. And I could have went for a 3-shot, but I didn't know if he was just going to body slam me because I was so low. Damn. Is there anything I could do here? If I were to switch, he'd take his first turn. Attack, take his second turn. No, that doesn't do it. The best shot I have is to just stay in and try and like wake up and go for like psychics to punish. That's the best shot that I have. He's withdrawing to Muck. I think that's actually that is good for me because he hasn't started his sleep turns yet. Found a timid Venonat with blue eyes. Dude, that's awesome. He's going to wake up, waste a Psychic here. What we're going to do is we're actually going to go for a Thunder Wave here because there's nothing else to really do. Yep. I'll take it. I'll take this. Hopefully he doesn't, like, minimize me. If he minimizes me, that's never lucky. Don't you minimize me, my guy. Foul play. I'll take it. Please go away, Mew. All right. Yeah, I got shots. Snorlax can't wake up for 2 turns. So, like, I can go, like, Earthquake, sleep, third Earthquake. So it depends on if he can KO us with this Muck. I think we got it. I think we're going to be able to get it. I don't think Foul Play can one-shot us. I don't think Earthquake one-shots him either. And if he switches to Snorlax, that's just game. It's just game if he switches to the Lax. But we'll see how much damage we deal with Earthquake. No, don't Bottle Cap. Don't do that. It's not worth the Bottle Cap. I'll still use it. Natures are more important than Ivies most of the time anyways, and as long as it has speed, I'm happy. Can we live a Foul Play? That's the question. Don't you crit me. Yeah, we got it. This should be game. We deal over a third with Earthquake, I think, to Snorlax. Antonio, clutch! That's what I'm talking about. Protect. Oh, I was actually going to talk about that. Like, I only have a certain number of Earthquakes, guys. I only got a certain number of these things. I can't just be losing it all day, but Protect's very niche from Muck. He should go for another one. He should technically go for another one. And if he has it on Lax, he should try and, like... Okay, he doesn't have it. Cool! So we take this guy out. I don't want to Ice Punch because I don't know if that'll actually KO here. I could have done a really high roll on Earthquake and, like, a really low roll on Ice Punch. Would be bad. But again, Snorlax, he used Rest, but he hasn't even started his sleep turns. He has to be asleep for 2 whole turns. And I think we can do... like 35% 3 times. I think. It depends on some rolls here. We got 5 EQs left. Antonio, come on, give me that carry. Show me what you're working with, my guy. Dude, if I had Horn Drill, you know I'd use it. Let's see, how much damage do we actually do? Yeah, it's definitely enough for the 3-shot. So that's his first turn of sleep. Right? I think he should have just stayed in with the Snorlax originally. That's what I would have done if I were him against the Mew. I mean, it's kind of hard to say. He doesn't know the full moveset, and that's one of the strengths of Mew. This should be his second turn of sleep. And then, again, it's a perfect amount of range for Earthquake to come in hot and give me that victory. Nidoking putting the work on this man. Putting the work to him. Wake Up Protect, lol. No, we take those. Nidoking. OP, baby. Dude, that's so sick. Give me that crit. Didn't even need it. Guys like probably like, I only won because of the crit. Oh man. Alright, here we go. Those. Melmetal Mew. Ugh! It makes oh my god. Alright. How do we deal with this? This guy's team's gonna absolutely mollywop us because Alakazam outspeeds Gengar, Muck beats Gengar, Mega Gyarados beats Gengar. That's right, all these beat Gengar. Wouldn't you try it then Melmetal, or have you just not had the time? I don't have a Melmetal, but like I wouldn't want to use one anyways. I also do think that Melmetal's too good. How the fuck do I beat that? I think the best thing I can do is actually try and just lead like Gengar and just go for the hard punch and try and get 2 or 3 KOs. Just realize someone gifted you a sub. Yeah, you got some emotes, my guy. We're just gonna try and like lead Gengar and really like steamroll this guy and get like 2 or 3 hard punishes before we can actually like get his bearings. We're gonna try. There's like no way we beat Melmetal Mew with this team. My team is not made to fight Melmetal at all. At all. I got like psychic attacks on like glass cannons. There's a Melmetal. Yep, we're gonna burn it. Burn, baby, burn. Let's see. It should just be banned. Legendaries like in the game battle facilities. I mean, I think Melmetal's a little bit too good, but like the thing is, the things that my team's made to beat Mewtwo. I have like 3 Thunder Wave users and resist to Mewtwo all across the board. Melmetal, on the other hand, I do not have, I have Will-O-Wisp on my Gengar. I don't have like any fire attacks. Like, I don't have anything that's made to beat Melmetal. And so the things that beat Mewtwo don't necessarily beat Melmetal, and vice versa. Oh man. So Will-O-Wisp coming in hot here. What is he actually gonna do? Is he just gonna EQ me? I think I can live it. Thunder Wave from the Melmetal. See, like, oh my goodness, that's like so good. That's actually really good. Okay. Do we know if Melmetal's a full-on legendary or not? I mean, I think it is. I'm just gonna go for a Shadow Ball. He's probably gonna switch. I didn't think he was gonna do that. I thought he was gonna go for Earthquake. It's a mythical. I think I treat it like a mythical. Are we faster? Yeah, we're still faster. Fuck. That's so good. It can do a lot. And double Iron Bash, it shouldn't do a lot. Yeah, I'm still faster. If it wasn't double Iron Bash, I'd just sub in his face. But being able to trade Gengar for Melmetal, it really sucks, but like, I have to. I have to do it. You should switch into Muck. We're still faster than Muck though too. Actually, no we're not. Yeah, this guy knows what he's doing. This guy knows exactly how to play the game. So we're going to treat him like a good player for the rest of the game. Has a very abysmal special D, so any big damage mons take it out. But like, the thing is, the big damage mons for special D aren't the type of things that beat Mewtwo, and my teams need to beat Mewtwo, not Melmetal. And you can't have a meta where you're trying to beat Mewtwo and Melmetal. It just doesn't work. Well, how's it going? Wonder if Melmetal gets sub. I think everything does. It's not worth it to keep this thing alive. I'm actually just gonna Sludge Bomb. I don't want to go for a... I don't want to get subbed on or something like that. I'll force him to Mega. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Hope you're having a wonderful Friday day. Yeah, we're still faster. Like I said, I don't want to go for the Willow, so I'd rather just try and go for the damage. Maybe a Poison or something. Detail! That's right! Yeah, I'll take a free I'll take a free switch. Not my Chansey. Fuck, really? Never lucky. Ever in the history of my life. We have to switch right back to Gengar. He's gonna go for a Crunch. We had a Fodder. Damn, that sucks. That is so bad. Alright, so he has Melmetal. Gyarados is low. What's Puss Bus watching this stream from my Thailand trip? Yo. He's going for a switch? What? Alakazam? Oh, this is actually really good. Why would you switch into Alakazam to punish a Chansey? Taquitos. Dude, I'm jealous. I want taquitos. What should I have for lunch today, guys? Yeah, he's just gonna go for a Psychic. If he wants to Calm Mind, that'd be so freaking greedy. That's right, we got another follow. We got Frozen DXM. Thank you for the follow. Hope you're having a wonderful day. He goes for a Psychic here. I'm gonna bring out Chansey. Chansey's what we need to use to fight Alakazam anyways. Would you recommend Eevee or Pikachu for the one I could use the most, but not bothered about exclusives? A lot of people like Eevee, but I personally like Pikachu better. So I guess it's a personal preference, but I do like the Pikachu more. But just because it fits my playstyle, I think Pikachu can be splashed a lot easier than Eevee a lot of the time. You have to build a team around Eevee versus kind of just always can throw a Pikachu in your team. Pikachu's always going to have some sort of usefulness. But let's see what he switches to. Like, why would he send that out to fight Chansey? He switched to this Pokemon, by the way. BT Dubs. He switched to Alakazam. He had Gyarados out, and he switched. I don't think that's the play. I don't think that that's the play. Starter Pikachu is frustrating. It's a really good Pokemon. Hopefully we can hit this. Please hit. What? What? No! No! It's like the first Thunder Wave I've ever missed in the history of the game. And like, why is he staying in? Why is he letting us have another shot at this? If we hit this, he's so neutered. Alright. We did it, boys. Fuck, that was annoying. He shouldn't have let us redo that. He should have switched to the Gyarados and went for a punish. He could have. He could have definitely done that. I'm just going to try and go for this. Let's see how much he actually does with Psychic. As long as it doesn't do half, I think we'll be in a good spot. Well, it does a little bit under half. Let's see how much damage we deal with a Toss. That's a lot. Kind of want a soft boiled and fish for a para, but we'll see. Yeah, that works. I'll go for another one of these. This should be a 3-shot on Alakazam, I think. Let's see it. Yeah, it is. He's a little bit faster than we are, but like taking out an Alakazam, like, look at his team. I'll take this. Weird how I asked about the beast and you had to fight one. You asked about exclusively like Melmetal and Mew, and like I have to fight one. It is kind of funny. I normally wouldn't fight a player like this, or like I would, but like I normally wouldn't try hard because I'm tryharding a little bit. Normally I would kind of just be like, ah, whatever. I'm just gonna weed this, but that was canceled. I'll take it, dude. Sucks to suck. You can't beat Chansey. Can't beat it. Deleted. Hey, Mr. Melmetal Mew can't beat Chansey. Sucks to suck.